The feel-good story in 2025 pop music has been K-pop Demon Hunters. The same team that did the great Spider-Verse movies gave us a cinematic love letter to K-pop and a wholesome story about accepting your flaws. Plus, music good. All the original songs are excellent, but the standout has been golden. Not only did it stop the reign of Alex Warren this summer, but it has been the biggest hit in the US for several weeks as of now. The success of K-pop Demon Hunters got me thinking more about bands that are not real making songs that achieve real success. Also, spoiler warning from here on out for KDH. Kingdom Hearts? Fictional bands have existed for years now. In 1958, a man named Ross Bagdasarian wrote a novelty song about a witch doctor who helped make a woman fall in love with him. When he went to record the song, he used a newfangled tape recorder to create a conversation between him and the witch doctor. The doctor's voice was recorded at half speed and then played at normal speed, but that made Ross's regular voice super high-pitched. And 50 years later, we got this.
This is absurd. I feel like P. Diddy with fur.
Why would you say that? Alvin and the Chipmunks was the first major instance of a fictional band scoring a real hit. In their case, they actually got 2 #1 hits. Moving into the 60s, the 2 really unreal bands were the Monkees and the Archies, both overseen by music mogul Don Kirshner. The former was conceived for a TV sitcom, but they would get a few hits in their day, like I'm a Believer, and the latter was born from pre-existing characters from the Archie comics. Their song Sugar Sugar became one of the biggest songs of 1969, and it kicked off a wonderful history of music in Archie media.
I'm sorry I'm different now. I guess death just changes a person. Inside I'm hollowed out.
Other fake acts include Spinal Tap, Josie and the Pussycats, The Wonders, The Heights, and like no one's gonna take this seriously because it's me saying it, but there's also him. However, I'd like to look at 3 of these artists and do a nice little 3-way Venn diagram. First, Gorillaz, the brainchild of Blur frontman Damon Albarn and illustrator Jamie Hewlett. For over 20 years, Gorillaz have given us plenty of excellent songs. Feel Good Inc., Clint Eastwood, Stylo, Tomorrow Comes Today, Cracker Island, The Place I Was Born. Second, Huntrix, the trio from K-pop Demon Hunters, the one I mentioned earlier with the big movie and the golden and the, you know. And third, Xania Monet. You know, everyone loves Xania Monet. Oh, you don't know who Xania Monet is?
My head is now a giant egg! My head is now a giant egg! 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 Egg!
Boom, that's right, rug pull, baby. This video is actually about AI, or rather, it's connected to AI. For as much praise as KDH was getting, there were folks who were bemoaning it as the next step towards an all-AI future. I think that's a little dramatic, since Huntrix are not the first fictional band to score hits, but what got my goat was the timing of that discourse with news about Xania Monet. For context, Xania Monet is an AI artist conceived by actual human being Talisha Jones. Talisha writes the lyrics, plugs them into Suno, and gets back slow-burning R&B sung by Xania. She, or rather they, made headlines recently for the $3 million deal they signed with Hollywood Media. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because they signed another AI musician earlier this year. You guys good? You wanna f***ing stop? And as a thought experiment, I began wondering why this fictional artist isn't okay, but the rest are. To be clear, I don't like AI music. I've made multiple videos about how I don't like it. I do believe Xania is different from the other fictional bands of years past, but we do ourselves no good if we don't take a second to consider our thinking, deepen our understanding, and make sure our beliefs align with our value systems. Insert funny meme here. Can this artist release music? This one is easy. All 3 can, and I know because all 3 have. Gorillaz have 8 albums out as of now, with a 9th on the way next year. Huntrix have a soundtrack album with their songs from KDH, and given the movie's ludicrous success, I'm sure we will get more songs from them. And Xania has 2 albums. All 3 of these artists can release music. Can this artist perform live? For Gorillaz, yes, they already do perform live. Granted, it's Damon Albarn with a bunch of other musicians, not literally the bandmates from Gorillaz, but Gorillaz music can be performed live by the people who made it. Like Gorillaz, Huntrix themselves cannot perform live because they're not real, but their real-life singers can. In fact, by the time you watch this, they will have just performed for the first time on Jimmy Fallon. For Xania, so far, no. There are plans for a live performance of some sorts, but call me skeptical until I see it. Maybe they put up an AI video of her, or they get another singer with a voice like hers, or God forbid, a hologram. Can the artist's IP be used in other media? This is something we don't often consider when we talk about music. All of our favorite artists have intellectual property tied to them. Their name, their likeness, their brand identifiers, their songs, their recordings. All of these are usually protected under some kind of copyright or trademark law, and the rights holders are then able to promote the artist through various official means. So can these artists be featured in places outside of music? Let's call this the "can they be in Fortnite" test. Gorillaz? Yes. In fact, they already are. Huntrix? Yes. In fact, they just got added. How about Xania? In theory, yes, but there's an issue. Under current US copyright law, fully AI-generated works cannot be copyrighted. For Xania, that means only the lyrics by Talisha Jones can be copyrighted. Not the music, not the recordings, and not even the visual persona of Xania herself. And I mean, what persona is there even to copyright? Every time Talisha generates Xania, she is generating a slightly different woman, and there's no way to copyright a general visual likeness. Now, why does this matter beyond legal gobbledygook? Because the law recognizes there's nothing there. Xania isn't an artist with a brand, she's a prompt result. Under current copyright and trademark law, I could go and generate my own Xania Monet and release my own music under her name. All of us could, and as long as we're not using the same lyrics that Talisha wrote, there would be no issue because none of the music can be copyrighted. You can't build a sustainable music career around an artist that anyone can duplicate. With Gorillaz and Huntrix, you're licensing the work of specific humans and their creative vision. With Xania, you're licensing lyrics. That's the issue. Does this artist replace some other human artist? For Gorillaz, I mean, it's a band made by two humans, and it's also known for regularly bringing in other humans for features, so no, they don't replace other humans. For Huntrix, they are the product of not only a team of singers and songwriters making the music, but also a team of animators realizing the characters who sing the music. Again, I would say they are not replacing human artists. And for Xania, it's complicated. On one level, using Xania as an avatar has allowed Talisha to release music at a large scale and gain significant attention. I don't know if Talisha plays any instruments, but maybe she had always wanted to make music and this was her chance to do it. Okay, sure, but personally, I think learning to make music is part of making music. The time spent training your voice, learning an instrument, hating Pro Tools with every fiber of your being. Maybe some folks out there are amped up to see Talisha take these shortcuts and get the bag, but I think that devalues all the musicians who have put in the work. You could also say that Talisha generating fully produced songs in Suno means she's depriving work from music personnel like engineers, producers, session musicians. That's true, though one side note, I think folks have been able to circumvent the traditional studio process ever since digital audio workstations took off like 25 years ago. AI music generation is certainly not helping that disruption, but it's not the first thing to disrupt it. Altogether though, I'm gonna say she does replace human artists on a broad level. Does this artist have a soul? We're making a big leap into existential country here. All the tumbleweeds question why they endlessly roll, and the birds look at you like... For Gorillaz and Huntrix, I would say yes. Their music has made me feel strong emotions, and more so in the case of Huntrix, the story that underpins their songs is genuinely engaging. And I would aim that praise towards the humans that crafted the music, the visuals, or both. I think both of these artists have soul. What about Xania? You might say Xania has no soul, no emotions to latch onto. And while I would agree for myself, have you been on TikTok lately?
I don't give a what none of y'all say. That fucking album is lit.
That girl have some songs, some touchful songs, some soulful songs.
The stuff sound good, bro.
Gonna put a lot of people out of business. Alright? I'm just telling you the truth.
My mom sends me plenty of her songs and I blast them.
The evidence is there. Some people really resonate with Xania's words, or more precisely, Talisha's words. Her songs deal with topics like a lack of a father figure, trust in a higher power, protecting your peace, seeing the work your mother put in to raise you, and there are clearly people who resonate with the lyrics, even when a robot is singing them. Us humans are really good at finding soul in things that don't technically have it. There are plenty of instances where we as people find humanity in things that are very much not human. I saw a video the other day of a woman firmly asking AI to recite its coding, and a good chunk of the comments were mad at her tone. Let me put this another way. You want to know my favorite part of K-pop Demon Hunters? It's two super small details back to back in the same scene, during the song Soda Pop. Look at this bit. You're my soda pop, my little soda pop. You notice that one shot where the camera is tracking the guy in the front? Love that. And the second bit is this. You're my soda pop.
It is annoyingly catchy though. It's infectious.
The synchronized shoulder shimmy, level 10 pro move, and it's so satisfying to watch. These two moments together are like 10 seconds in a 96-minute movie, but they are so damn good. And I'm not gonna get up here and say AI will never be able to replicate head tracking or the synchronized shoulder shimmy, but they are small details, part of a larger whole, that make me feel like the work was made with intention and care. I find humanity in those moments. So while I personally don't feel strong emotions when I listen to Talisha's lyrics, I can't deny other people do. That applies to the music as well. All of her songs are ballads and they have the same structure and they hit the high notes at the same time. That's the Suno touch, baby. That's that Mia Suno. I'm personally turned off by Xania's songs all sounding the same, but that hasn't stopped people from loving the music. Then again, I can't say I've never enjoyed an artist who makes very similar sounding songs. I enjoy the work of the band Interpol a lot, but I'd be hard pressed to name their songs that don't start with isolated guitars. Let me hit one more point, and apologies, but this one's gonna be a bit more morbid. Can the music still be performed once the artist has passed away? And can new music be made once the original artist is no longer with us? I'm gonna answer this one in reverse order. For Xania and Huntrix, the answer would likely be yes. 100 years from now, there could be new music from them, even though Talisha and the current KDH team would not be with us. Whether anyone will care about these artists and their music by 2125, that's a different question, but one I won't have to answer because I'll likely be gone too. And for Gorillaz, my initial answer was no. But after thinking about it, I envisioned a scenario where Damon and Jamie handed off the Gorillaz project to another young musician and another young animator, and then they carried on releasing music under the band name. A passing of the torch, if you will. I think that could be cool, but it would of course depend on if Damon and Jamie would want to do that. Last thing I want to see is Warner making Damon AI Barn whip up 10 new albums. And that's when I realized those random people on Twitter who were complaining about K-pop Demon Hunters may have been dramatic, but I could now see where they were coming from. After working with the Monkees, Don Kirshner said his main idea with the Archies was, quote, a band that won't talk back, end quote. And I think that is more relevant now than ever, because whether we're talking about Gorillaz, Huntrix, or Xania, there's a timeline where corporations don't treat these as creative projects at all. They treat them solely as IP assets that can be exploited without dealing with actual artists. Real artists are expensive. They have creative visions. They say no. They retire. They die. Fictional characters? They do whatever you tell them to do forever. As of now, Gorillaz and Huntrix require hiring human talent to continue. Xania has Talisha writing the words, sure, but beyond that, they just need a Suno subscription. And that's why the AI artist worries me more. Because what's stopping the next step? What's stopping a corporation from cutting out the lyricist too and just generating everything? My hope is that the force keeping that from happening is the quality, because have you heard songs where AI generates both music and lyrics?
Sitting at my favorite cafe, sipping my tea, it's Saturday, thinking about all he's done to everyone.
They suck ass. For now though, I'll simply have to focus on the qualities in music that I love and the work being done by real actual humans, even if their work is in the shape of fictional K-pop groups doing synchronized shoulder shimmies. But I want to hear from you now. What are your thoughts on K-pop Demon Hunters and Xania Monet and all of these other artists? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Let me know in the comments. And if you prefer to engage with tremendous work done by teams of humans, check out my video on the highest grossing tours of all time.